As they conversed, the old woman appeared and said, "Old master, if you have come to our house, there is no need for you to rush off so eagerly. How many days have you been staying, anyway?" "Already half a month," replied Tripitaka. "Let that half-month be counted as the meritorious service of the squire," said the old woman. "I too have accumulated a little cash from sewing, and I have hopes also of feeding the old master for half a month." She had barely finished speaking when Ko Dong and his brother also came out and said, "Please hear us, you four venerable masters. Our father fed the monks for over 20 years, but he had never come upon a good person. Now he is lucky enough to reach the number of perfection only because of your arrival, which has, as it were, brought radiance to a thatched hut. Your students are too young to know much about karma, but we do know the proverb. What pa sows pa reaps. What ma sows ma reaps. One who sows not, reaps not. The reason our father and mother wish to extend their hospitality is just so that they may each attain certain karmic reward. Why must you refuse them so bitterly? Even we foolish brothers have saved up a small sum from our school allowances, with which we, too, would like to entertain the venerable masters for half a month before we see you off. Already I dare not accept the great kindness of your mother, the old Bodhisattva," said Tripitaka. "How could I presume upon the affection of you worthy brothers? I truly dare not. I must leave this day, and I implore all of you to pardon me. If I remained, I would have exceeded the imperial limit, and my crime would be even greater than one punishable by execution." When the old woman and her two sons saw that he was adamant, they grew angry and said, "Out of good intentions, we wanted him to stay, but he's bent on leaving. All right. He wants to go, let him go. No need to chatter any more." Mother and sons thereupon got up and went inside. Unable to restrain himself, Eight Rules spoke again to the Tang monk. "Master, don't overdo your play acting. As the proverb says, 'To stay's appropriate. Loitering irritates.' Let us stay here for one more month, just to satisfy the wishes of mother and sons. What's the hurry?" "Oh," snapped the Tang monk, and immediately our idiot gave his own mouth a couple of slaps, saying, "Shhhhhh. Shhhhhh. Don't talk. You're making noises again." On one side Pilgrim and Sha monk began to giggle uncontrollably. "What are you laughing at?" said the Tang monk to Pilgrim, sorely annoyed. Making the magic sign with his fingers, he was about to recite the tight fillet spell. So horrified was Pilgrim that he at once went to his knees to say, "Master, I wasn't laughing. I wasn't laughing. Don't recite that spell, I beg you." When the squire saw that master and disciples were becoming more and more rancorous, he dared not insist on their staying any longer. All he said was, "The venerable masters need not quarrel. I promise you that I shall escort you on your way tomorrow." He went out of the sutra hall, and told his secretary to send over 100 invitations to his relatives and neighbors to join him in sending off in the morning the old master from the Tang court in his westward journey. In the meantime, he ordered the chefs to prepare a farewell banquet, and his steward to have 20 pairs of colored banners made up and to find a band of musicians and drummers. A group of monks from the South Advent Monastery and a group of Taoists from the East Summit Abbey were to be ready to join the party by the hour of the serpent in the morning. His domestic staff obeyed and left. In a little while, it was nightfall. After the evening meal, they all retired. You see, a few crows to the village homeward fly. Drums and bells toll from distant towers high. Human traffic ceases in the street and mart. From all households lights and fires now depart. In moonlight and wind blossoms show their shade. The stars the obscure silver stream pervade. The night has deepened for the nightjars weep. The heavens grow silent when the earth's asleep. At the time it was no more than the hour between the third and fourth watch when those houseboys in charge of various affairs all rose early in order to complete their tasks. Look at them. Those preparing the banquet. Rushed about in the kitchen. Those making the colored banners clamored before the hall. Those beckoning monks and priests sprinted on their two legs. Those calling for musicians hurled themselves forward. Those sending out invitations darted east and west. Those readying horse and carriage shouted back and forth. From the hour of midnight, the tumult lasted till dawn. By about the hour of the serpent, every business was concluded, with money, of course. We tell you now about the Tang monk and his disciples, who also rose early, attended by all those people. The elder at once gave the instruction to pack and to hitch up the horse. When our idiot heard that they were truly about to leave, he pouted his fat lips some more and grumbled incessantly, but he had no choice other than to pack up the cassock and alms bowl, and pick up the pole and its load. Having brushed and scrubbed down the horse, Sha monk saddled it and waited. Pilgrim handed the 9-ringed priestly staff to his master and hung the satchel containing his travel rescript on his own chest. They were about to walk out together when the squire came to invite them to a large sitting room in the rear, where a huge banquet was spread out. The hospitality they encountered here was quite different from what they received in the dining hall in front. They saw curtains loftily hung, and screens on all 4 sides. Hung in the center was a painting with the aged mountain and blessed sea motif. Displayed on 2 walls were the scenes of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. From dragon-veined tripods rose incense smoke. Auspicious air grew in crow-tortoise urns. The display plates' many colors showed vivid bejeweled floral patterns. The side tables' mounds of gold held orderly rows of lion god candies. Drums and dances followed the graceful notes. Brocade-like food and fruits were placed in the hall. Such refined vegetarian soup and rice. Such attractive fragrant tea and wine. Though this was a home of a commoner, it was not different from a noble's house. You could hear only a joyous hubbub that truly disturbed heaven and earth. The elder was just greeting the squire when a houseboy appeared and said, "The guests have all arrived." These were all neighbors left and right, the wife's brothers, the cousins, and the sisters' husbands. There were also squires who had jointly pledged to keep a diet and Buddhist believers. After all of them bowed ceremoniously to the elder, they took their proper seats as pipes and strings played below the steps and the feasting went on inside the hall. This sumptuous spread had the undivided attention of 8 rules, who said to Sha monk, "Brother, let yourself go and eat. When we leave the home, there will be no more rich fare like this." "What are you saying, second elder brother?" said Sha monk, chuckling. As the proverb puts the matter, the 100 flavors of rare dainties are no more once you've eaten your fill. You may accumulate private savings, but not in your stomach private hoardings. You're much too feeble. Too feeble, replied 8 rules. When I have eaten to the limits in one meal, I won't be hungry again even after 3 days. Hearing him, Pilgrim said, "Idiot, don't puncture your belly. We have to be on the road." Hardly had they finished speaking when it was almost noon. The elder, in his seat of honor, lifted his chopsticks to recite the sutra for the end of Megure. So alarmed was 8 rules that he took up the rice, downed 1 bowl with a gulp, and put away 5 or 6 more bowls. Next he picked up those buns, rolls, cakes, and baked goods, and stuffed both his sleeves full of them, regardless of whether they were good or bad. Only then did he leave the table, following his master. Having thanked the squire and the other guests, the elder walked out of the door, encountering many colorful banners and treasure canopies, drummers and musicians on the other side. The 2 bands of Taoist priests and Buddhist monks were just arriving. With a smile the squire said to them, "All of you are late, and the old master is eager to leave. There is no time for me to present you with the Megure. Allow me to thank you when we come back." Those pulling the carriages, riding horses, or walking all stepped aside for the 4 pilgrims to proceed. As they went forward, Loud strains of music and the roll of drums drifted skyward while banners and flags blotted out the sun. The whole place was clogged by people, chariots, and horses as everyone came to see Squire Ko sending off the Tang monk. The wealth and riches so displayed surpassed the enclosures of pearl and jade, and rivaled those silken drapes of love. Those monks played a Buddhist tune, after which the priest struck up a Taoist melody, as they all escorted the pilgrims out of the prefectural city. When they reached the 10th-mile wayside station, food and drink were served, and they toasted each other once more as they bade farewell. The squire, however, still could not bear to part with his guests. Blinking back his tears, he said, "When the venerable master returns after acquiring the scriptures, he must come to our house to stay for a few days. That'll be the fulfillment of Ko Hong's wish." Deeply moved, Tripitaka thanked him repeatedly, saying, "If I reach the Spirit Mountain and get to see the Buddhist patriarch, your great virtue will be the first to be told. On my return, I shall surely stop at your door to express my thanks." Speaking in this manner, they went on for 2 or 3 more miles. The elder earnestly bowed to take leave of his host, and the squire had to turn back, wailing loudly. Truly, vowing to feed monks, he'd return to wondrous knowledge. But with no affinity, he could not see Tathagata. We shall speak no more of Squire Ko, who escorted the pilgrims to the 10th-mile wayside station, and then returned with his other companions to his house. We tell you instead about the master and his 3 disciples, who journeyed for some 40 or 50 miles, when the sky darkened. "It's getting late," said the elder. "Where shall we ask for lodging?" Toting the luggage, 8 Rules pouted and said, "There's ready-made rice, but you won't eat it. There's a house built with cool tiles, but you won't live in it. All you want is to hurry on some journey, like a lost soul going to a funeral. Now it's getting late. If it rains, what are we going to do then?" "You brazen cursed beast," scolded the Tang monk. "You're complaining again. As the proverb says, Chang'an may be fine, but it's no place to linger in. Wait till we reach the affinity of seeing the Buddhist patriarch and acquire the true scriptures. When we return to the Great Tang and report to our Lord, we will let you eat the rice from the imperial kitchen for several years. I hope, you cursed beast, you'll become so bloated that you'll die and become an overstuffed ghost." Our idiot giggled silently and dared not utter another word. Pilgrim peered into the distance and discovered several buildings by the main road. He said quickly to his master, "Let's rest over there. Let's rest over there." The elder drew near and saw that it was a shrine which had collapsed. On top of the shrine was an old plaque, on which there was an inscription written in 4 dust-covered, faded words, "Bright Light Travel Court." Dismounting, the elder said, "The Bodhisattva Bright Light was the disciple of the Buddha of Flames and 5 Lights. Because of his expedition against the demon king of poisonous fire, he was demoted and changed into the spirit officer of 5 manifestations. They must have a shrine keeper here." They all went inside, but they discovered that both rooms and corridors had toppled, and there was no sign of any human person. They would have turned and gone back out were it not for the fact that dark clouds suddenly had gathered above and a torrential rain descended. They had little choice but to find whatever shelter they could in that dilapidated building, and remain there in stealthy silence, fearing that they might otherwise disturb some monstrous deviates. Either sitting or standing, they endured a sleepless night. Ah, truly. Prosperity's end breeds negativity. In pleasure you'd meet, too, calamity. We do not know what was their condition when they proceeded in the morning. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter.